Some people, they're kind of playing, they're dabbling, they're not really being in the business. They kind of like have ideas about being in business, but they're not showing up and attacking things. Hey there everybody, Dan here. Today I want to talk about the mindset of motivation trumps knowledge. I get asked all the time, because I've built multi-million-dollar companies and scaled teams and built marketing programs, and I've got this YouTube channel. People ask me all the time, it's like, where do I learn how to do stuff? And I obviously would love them to consume every one of my videos, but the truth is what I've discovered for success, it's not about what you know, it's how you show up. When I was 18, I actually cold called 20 different kind of, not billionaires, some of them were billionaires. So I cold called Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Mark Cuban, and I literally found a list of like the 20 richest people in tech, or like most notable people. And I asked them the question, I said, if I'm a young entrepreneur, if I was trying to be successful, what is the thing that's gonna allow me to stand out? Is it what I know? Is it who I know? Or is it my motivation? And I got very few replies. I think I probably got 7 or 8 replies out of 20. So it's not nothing. The one that I love the best was Mark Cuban actually said, do all 3 when everybody else is trying to pick one. But I really leaned into that because over the years I've discovered it's not what you know. Because if it was true, then you'd have a bunch of millionaire PhD doctorates in universities, right? If it was just about knowledge, then people that read 1,000 books would just magically be successful. And what I discovered is if you're struggling with fear, uncertainty, imposter syndrome, self-doubt, the truth is we need to overcome that. We need to overcome that through motivation. I'm gonna share 3 specific strategies to help you go from a place where you're feeling like, I'm not sure if I'm built for this, I'm not sure if my family's gonna support me, to a place of, confidence, where you wake up and you just know you're on your path, you're on your journey, you know that it feels right. And I remember the first time that I really understood this, I was building a company called Spheric Technologies. I had saved at that point, I was 23, 24, I'd saved 75K. I worked for 3 years, saving all my money. I start this company. I go back to the first place I'd ever worked. I reach out to my buddies that I started the job with, to try to recruit them away to join me on this crazy journey. They were 22 years old at the time. And I remember asking the 2 guys, because I needed 3 people, okay? Well, 4 total, but three to join. And I asked the 2 guys, who is the other person that you work with that you think is motivated and would jive well with us? And I had this really, I had customers lined up. I just needed people. And they said, oh, there's this guy Andrew at work. Let me talk to him and see if he'd be interested. And they reached out to him, got him to kind of take an interest. I had a meeting with him. And I could just tell okay, this is a guy that gets it, right? He's young, he's motivated. He had some real estate projects he's working on. He's just somebody that's a hustler. He's going to do what it's going to take to be successful. So I offered them the job. And I mean, this was a big deal for him, right? He was leaving a really great opportunity, just like the other 2 guys, to join this crazy startup that had no revenue, no customers, literally day 0. And I remember messaging him on the weekend saying, hey man, I'll stop over on Sunday with some paperwork, some generic legal stuff I probably found on LegalZoom.com. And I show up to his house. First off, I thought it'd be an apartment because I lived in an apartment. I show up to his place, it's a house. I knock on the door and I'm waiting, and all of a sudden this little blonde-headed girl opens the door, and I'm like, oh. I go, is Andrew here? And she turns around and she screams, Dada. And I'm like, oh geez, I didn't know Andrew had kids. And then Andrew comes up from downstairs. It was like a split entrance front, like a house, split entrance. And his wife comes out of the kitchen, she's up top, and she's full pregnancy mode, 7 or 8 months pregnant. And I just look at Andrew, and he looks at me, he's like, oh, you met my daughter and my wife? And I'm just like, yeah. What Andrew didn't know is I didn't realize he had kids. And I don't know about you, but when you do things, when you take action, when you move things forward, and you have a certain assumption about like the impact of the downside, like my downside in my life at that point is I'll just go get another job, right? And that's true for a lot of people. But here's a person that just left one of arguably the best places to work in the city he lived in to go join me, unproven, 2 failed startups at that point, you know, a dream, some motivation. And I just remember there's something that clicked for me where I was like, getting him to sign that paperwork meant that there was no messing around this time. There was no way I could not make it work. And what happened is 3 to 4 months later, we were, you know, had the money, hired the people, got the laptops, we were flying around, we were meeting with customers, and things were going good. But what I didn't realize at the time was the way I structured the business, the way I invoiced our customers and the timing of them paying me, I got to a place where I had a cash flow problem. And you know, my dad, if he's listening to this, he'd smile because he used to say this to me all the time. Like, you got to manage cash flow. You got to watch your cash flow. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. It's when it comes in. And I was like, don't worry about it. I had customers lined up. And literally the thing he warned me against happened, which is the way we were working with customers, where we would hire people, train them. I put them on payroll from day one. It took me like 6 weeks to get them to a place where they understood the technology. Got them working on site, had to spend the money, fly them there, work with the client, install the software, get things going. Eventually invoice, right? So you like sign the contract, eventually you invoice. Then there's this thing called net 30. So they've got 30 days to pay the invoice. Then they're paying with the check, and then the check comes in the mail. And because I was a new company, when I went to deposit in my bank account, the bank says that we do a 20 business day hold on the check. Now I'll tell you one thing, I can be patient to get paid, your team won't be. And when all of a sudden they're demanding, and look, I was definitely nervous. They didn't demand anything, but I just literally looked at that 75 grand just dwindle down to nothing. And I got super motivated. I got super focused. I got super out of fear at the time, just driven to solve this problem. And I picked up the phone, I called anybody could help me. Like, hey, I've got these receivables, where the business is going, but I'm literally gonna run out of money to make payroll, and I can't do that to my team. And through a bunch of conversations with some of my mentors, I realized that there's this thing, well, they told me there's this thing called factoring, okay? Factoring is essentially a payday loan for businesses where you can go to a place to a company, and they will buy your receivables. So they will buy it from you. So you issue the money that the company owns to you, but they'll take like 25, 30, 40% of the money. So if you need cash today in your business and you got receivables, there are companies out there that will buy them. It'll cost you a ton of money. The risk is still on you. If they don't get paid, they still come to you. You still guarantee that they're gonna get paid, which is crazy. And I ended up solving the problem. I solved the problem because I was motivated. And I think that's what happens is some people, they're kind of playing, they're dabbling, they're not really being in the business. You know, they kind of like have, you know, ideas about being in business, but they're not showing up and attacking things. And that's what that situation taught me, is that if I want something, I need to show up as if somebody else's livelihood depended on it, and it did at that time. You need to show up for your customers. You need to show up for yourself. You need to show up for your family. You need to show up for your community. People are paying attention. And if you think you can just play around in this game called entrepreneurship and not attack it with a real motivated sense of success and accomplishment, you're just going to miss out on opportunities. So here are the 3 things I want to share with you to really help you crystallize these beliefs. Number 1 is the drug addict obsession. Okay, I share this story because it's just such a powerful and potent example of what's possible when you're motivated, okay? I grew up in a really challenging environment. A lot of you guys may not know my story, but you know, drug addict, rehab, jail twice, all as a teenager. You can search, you know, the power of belief on my YouTube channel. You'll see the videos of me telling this story. But what I learned at a young age that really helped me and inspired me as an entrepreneur was seeing these drug addicts, these alcoholics, okay, me being one of them, wake up in the morning with 0 money, 0 opportunities, 0 resources, okay, in the morning, and getting to a place that by 3, 4, 5 p.m. at night, they were drunk or high. Why? How are they able to do this? What did they know? And what I've realized is that a lot of people say, well, you know, I need this money from this investor. I need this customer. I need this team member. And those things may be true, but the truth is what you need more than anything is you got to be obsessed. You got to be obsessed to the same level. If you think of like drug addict being, you know, trying to get high or drunk at 10, some of you guys are showing up at a 1.5 and you're expecting results. Okay, you need to like really bring it. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is essentially non-motivated actions. Okay, so like to me it's not what you do when you're motivated that counts. It's how you show up when the motivation is gone. Right? It's the habits. And to me, the habits take over when the motivation is gone. So a lot of people, they're like, I don't feel motivated, so I'm not going to do the work. I don't feel motivated, so I'm not going to take that meeting. I don't feel motivated, this, that. It's like, wow, that's not the thing that's going to make it work. You literally need to show up when you're not motivated. You need to create that muscle. You got to create that habit. The last thing I want to leave you with on is a metaphor and really a story that I shared once with my brother to kind of crystallize the idea that motivation trumps knowledge. And that's that, you know, I remember sitting down with my youngest brother and we were talking about finding new customers. And you know, the way he was sharing his desire, I really felt like it was more, you know, interested, not committed. You know, he was interested in an outcome, but he wasn't committed to the outcome, right? Like a pig is committed, a chicken is interested, right? A chicken doesn't have to, you know, like, it's a bad metaphor, but you guys get the idea. Like, there's a difference between interested and committed. So I start to tell him this story. And the story goes like this, is I first asked him, I said, you know, what's the probability of you achieving this goal right now? Like, based on what you shared with me, 90 days, if you said 90-day goal, what's the probability of achieving this goal? And he's like, I don't know, like 30 or 40%. And I'm like, cool. Now picture this. Picture a world where the person you love the most, at the time he said his girlfriend, you knew that in 90 days, if you didn't achieve this goal, that her life would be taken, right? And it's an extreme example, but it's worth considering to understand what would change. And I said, if you truly believed in your soul that not achieving that outcome would have that kind of dire downside or outcome, what's your probability now that you could achieve that goal? And he said 110%. Interesting. What changed? Right there. You went from 30% to 100%. What changed? And he said, I would just do whatever it would take. Perfect. That's what I'm trying to say. A lot of you think it's knowledge. A lot of you, it's, I need to read this book. I got to buy this course. I got to watch this YouTube. I got to listen to this podcast. I got to go and meet these people. And what I'm telling you is that for 90% of you out there, this is a motivation obsession game. This is I'm deciding no matter what, I'm going to make this work. This is I will do whatever it takes times to kind of a mindset. And if you show up and you play reserved and be interested and not committed, you're absolutely not going to win the game. You're going to have your competitors out there. You're going to wonder your whole life, why did everybody else succeed? Why are all these people crushing it? What did they figure out that I didn't figure out? And I'll tell you, this is the topic. This is where you need to come back to. So that's what I want to share with you. I really hope that the ideas of motivation trumps knowledge inspires you to really double click on how you're showing up right now. What level out of 10 of obsession, you know, because your obsessions becomes your possessions, okay? What level are you showing up and is that going to support you? So I want you to leave a comment below. Let me know what you got this, and I hope this video finds you incredibly well. Talk soon. Peace. Later.